The hum of my office computer was the only sound until my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but the preview of the message caught my eye. A picture. I opened it. My breath froze. My chair creaked as I leaned closer. It was Leah, my wife, in our bedroom. She wasn't alone. A man's arm wrapped around her waist, his face partly visible but close enough to hers to erase any doubt. Beneath the image, words appeared. Greater than, you deserve to know. My throat went dry. No, this can't be real. I set the phone down, but my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I picked it up again, staring at every detail, the bedsheet I bought last winter, her necklace, the smug half-smile on her face. My voice was barely a whisper. Why would she? I locked my office door. The click sounded louder than it should have. I didn't want anyone to walk in and see me like this. Another buzz. Greater than, you still there? I typed, who is this? No reply. I called the number, straight to voicemail. I slammed my phone on the desk and rubbed my face. Think, just think. The office door rattled. My coworker Sam's voice came through. Hey, man, meeting's in 10. I'm not coming, I said quickly. You okay? I'm fine, I lied. Silence, then footsteps fading away. My eyes went back to the photo. The man. I'd seen that jawline somewhere before, but my brain refused to connect the dots. I called Leah. She didn't pick up. I tried again. Voicemail. When I finally heard her voice, it wasn't live. It was the recording. Hey, it's Leah. Leave a message. Leah, call me, now. I stared at my reflection in the dark computer screen. My tie felt like it was choking me, so I ripped it off. The phone buzzed again. Same number. Another message. Greater than, she's been doing this for months. Thought you should know before you waste more years. I typed furiously. Who are you? How do you know this? No reply. I stood, pacing in the small office. My chest ached. My palms were sweaty. I wanted to believe this was fake, some twisted prank. But the bed, our bed, the necklace I gave her on our anniversary. This was no mistake. The door handle turned again. Sam's voice. Boss wants to know if you're. I said I'm not coming. My shout made him pause. All right, man, just checking. When he left, I sank into the chair. I called Leah again. This time she picked up. Hey, she said, voice casual. Too casual. Where are you? At home. Why? You're lying. She laughed lightly. What are you talking about? I got a picture, Leah. You, in our bedroom, with a man. Silence. Leah, her voice was soft now. Who sent it? That's all you care about. Who sent it? I'm just surprised. I don't know what you think you saw. I know what I saw. My voice cracked. You're at work. We can talk when you get home. No, we're talking now. Another pause. Then, fine. Come home if you want. I'll be here. I hung up without answering. The air in the office felt heavy. I grabbed my jacket, my phone, my keys. Every step toward the door felt unreal, like I was walking in someone else's life. My phone buzzed once more. Same number. Greater than, be careful. She's good at lying. I typed, tell me who you are. Still no answer. I shoved the phone in my pocket and walked through the hallway. People greeted me, but their voices were muffled, like I was underwater. My mind was racing ahead, already picturing the confrontation. The elevator doors closed, sealing me in. I looked at my reflection in the metal, pale skin, tight jaw, eyes that didn't look like mine. I whispered to myself, don't lose it. Not yet. When I stepped outside, the cold air hit me like a slap. My hands were still trembling, but my steps quickened. The parking lot was a blur. By the time I sat in my car, my breathing was uneven. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. The image was still burned into my brain, her hair, his hand, that bed. I pulled my phone out one last time before starting the car. Sent a message to the unknown number, I'm going home. They replied instantly. Greater than, good. Just, be ready. I stared at those words, my chest tightening. Be ready. For what? The city noise outside faded in my head. There was only the sound of my heartbeat. I started the engine, the vibration buzzing through my body. My mind wasn't calm, but it was focused now. I didn't know what I was going to say. I didn't know what I was going to do. All I knew was that I was leaving the office early, and nothing about my life was going to be the same when I got home. The driveway felt longer than usual. My hands tightened around the steering wheel before I shut the engine off. The front door wasn't locked. I stepped inside. Laughter. Upstairs. Her laughter. And a man's. I swallowed hard and called out, Leah. No answer. Just more muffled talking, followed by a low chuckle that wasn't hers. I climbed the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier. My chest tightened with every sound. At the bedroom door, I paused. My hand hovered over the knob. I pushed it open. Leah sat on the edge of our bed, wearing my shirt, the one I wore last weekend. Mark was next to her, leaning in close, smiling like he owned the place. Their eyes widened when they saw me. "Babe," Leah started. "Mark," I said flatly. He smirked. "Didn't know you'd be home early." I kept my eyes on Leah. "You didn't answer my calls." She stood quickly. "I was busy with him." My voice was sharp. Mark leaned back casually. "You make it sound worse than it is." I turned to him. "And what exactly is it? Friends can hang out, can't they?" His grin didn't fade. "In my bedroom." Leah stepped between us. "Don't do this." "I'm already doing it," I said. Her voice wavered. "It's not what you think." I laughed once, bitter. "Oh, so I'm supposed to believe you just sit here with him, for fun?" Mark raised an eyebrow. "You're overreacting, man." I took a step forward. "Call me, man, one more time." Leah's hand touched my arm. "Stop, please." I looked at her hand like it was a stranger's. "Don't touch me." Her face shifted, guilt, then irritation. "You're never home, you know that. Always working. Maybe if you don't you dare blame this on me." Mark chuckled under his breath. "Guess I'll leave." "No," I said sharply. "You'll stay until I'm done." He met my eyes. "You're not in control here." I took another step toward him, my jaw tight. "Get out of my house." Leah's voice rose. "He was just." "I don't care," I cut her off. "Out." Mark finally stood, slow and deliberate, like he wanted to make a point. "This isn't over." I stepped closer, almost nose to nose. "For you, it is." He smirked again, then brushed past me, his shoulder bumping mine. I didn't move. The sound of his footsteps faded down the stairs, then the door shut. Leah crossed her arms. "That was unnecessary." "Unnecessary." My voice was ice. "Yes, you're blowing this up into something it's not." I stared at her. "You had him in here. In our room. In my clothes on your body." She rolled her eyes. "It's not like you've been around to notice what I do." I stepped back, shaking my head. "So this is my fault now." "I'm just saying you've been distant. And you've been sleeping with my wife," I snapped. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. The silence stretched. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. Finally, she said softly, "You don't know the whole story." "I've seen enough." Her lips trembled. "I didn't mean for it to happen." I laughed, hollow. "Yeah, you just tripped and fell into his arms. That's not fair." "Fair." I walked toward the door. "You want fair." "I was faithful. I trusted you. And you threw it away." She followed me into the hall. "Where are you going?" "Anywhere but here." "You can't just leave." I turned back, meeting her eyes. "Watch me." Her voice cracked. "We can talk about this." I opened the front door. "We just did." The slam echoed behind me as I stepped outside. The air hit my face, sharp and cold. My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was rage. I didn't look back. The river was black glass under the streetlights. My car engine was off, but I kept the keys in my hand like I might drive away at any second. My phone lit up. One new message from Leah. "Greater than, can we talk?" I stared at it, then typed, "Why?" Her reply came fast. "Greater than, you're never home." I laughed under my breath, but it wasn't humor. It was disbelief. I typed back, "So this is my fault." 3 dots appeared, then vanished. No answer. I tossed the phone onto the passenger seat, leaning back against the headrest. My chest burned. Memories started spilling in, uninvited. Her first, "I love you," in the park, the way she cried when I proposed, our wedding vows. Every promise felt poisoned now. The phone buzzed again. I didn't look. I already knew it would be another excuse. When it buzzed the 3rd time, I picked it up. "Greater than, if you were here more, maybe I wouldn't have needed someone else." My grip tightened around the phone until my knuckles ached. I typed 2 words, "We're done." Then I blocked her number. The silence after that felt heavier than the cold air in the car. I closed my eyes, but sleep didn't come. The image of her with Mark wouldn't leave. I kept hearing their laughter. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something in me said to pick up. "Yeah, man, it's me." David's voice came through. I exhaled. "How'd you get this number?" I blocked her. "She called me. Said you were upset." I figured something happened. "She told you she was with someone else." He paused. "No, she just said you were overreacting." I laughed bitterly. "Of course she did. All right, tell me, what's going on?" "She's cheating on me, Dave." I caught her. "With Mark." Silence. Then, "Mark, that smirking idiot from her birthday party." "Yeah, in our bedroom, wearing my shirt." "Jesus, you okay?" "No." My voice cracked, and I hated how weak it sounded. "Where are you?" "In my car, by the river." "You shouldn't be alone right now." "I can't be in that house." "Then come to my place." "I'm not ready to see anyone." He sighed. What are you thinking of doing? I hesitated. I don't know, but I'm not just going to let it slide. Don't do anything stupid tonight. I'm not promising anything. Listen to me, he said, firm. If you act in rage, you'll regret it later. I've known you since we were kids. You're not a guy who wants to live with regret. I leaned my head back. She's trying to make it my fault, Dave. Said I'm never home. That's classic deflection. She messed up, and now she's shifting the blame. Don't let her rewrite the story. Too late. She already believes it. Doesn't matter what she believes. It matters what you do next. I stayed quiet for a moment, listening to the faint rush of the river outside. He spoke again. If you need to crash here, my door's open. I'll think about it. Think fast, and don't sit in that car all night freezing your ass off. I'm not cold, I said, even though my fingers were numb. You're stubborn as hell, he muttered. Call me in the morning. I hung up without answering. The night stretched on. Cars passed on the bridge in the distance, their headlights sliding over the water. I tried closing my eyes again, but all I could see was her face when I walked in, that flicker of fear, followed by fake innocence. My mind started making lists, not of what I'd lost, but of what I could do. Evidence, conversations, people who might know something. By the time the sky started to lighten, my plan was already forming. And I knew I wasn't going to wait long to put it into motion. By 9 a.m., I'd already read the same email at work 4 times and still couldn't tell you what it said. My phone was in my hand again. I opened Leah's Instagram. New post, coffee art, caption self-care morning. The comments were full of heart emojis. I muttered to myself, self-care my ass. David texted, you at work? Yeah, not doing much. Meet Sophie for lunch. She's good at digging. I typed back, digging. Finding things people don't want found. By noon, I was sitting across from Sophie at a corner table. She had her laptop open before I even said hello. You want dirt? She asked. I want the truth. All of it. Then I'll need passwords. Email, bank, anything connected to her. She's not stupid. She changes them. Sophie smiled. No one changes them everywhere. I slid my phone across the table. Be careful. She started typing. When did you first suspect? Yesterday, when I got a message from some anonymous sent. Anonymous. Picture of her and Mark in my bedroom. She paused. That's brutal. Yeah, it gets worse. She's charging hotels and dinners to my card. Sophie's eyes flicked up. You've seen the statements. This morning. 2 charges last month at the Greyston. $400 each. Classy place, she muttered, scrolling. You want me to pull full records? It. Anything you're hoping to find. I already know enough to leave. I just want proof she can't spin. Sophie's fingers flew over the keys. Then we build a timeline. Dates, receipts, messages. You keep your voice calm, keep your hands clean. I smirked. You sound like David. David's cautious. I'm thorough. Her screen filled with transactions. Here, dinners at Berto's, 2 nights at the Greyston, a jewelry store. Same card number every time. My stomach twisted. That's my anniversary gift she was wearing last month. Sorry, Sophie said softly, but didn't stop typing. You want screenshots? All of them. She saved files to a folder named Storm. I asked, why help me? Because no one likes a liar. And because David's my brother. You matter to him. I nodded. Then I owe you. You'll pay me back by not doing something reckless. I'm not promising that. She raised an eyebrow. You want revenge or you want justice? Both. Sophie closed the laptop. Then plan first. Act later. Back at my desk, I couldn't concentrate. My phone buzzed again. A notification from my credit card app. A pending charge. Mark's Wine and Tapas minus $132.50. I almost laughed. They were still at it, right now, on my dime. I called Sophie. Can we track locations from the card use? Sure, but you'll have to stay calm when you know where they are. I'll try. Trying isn't enough. Just send me the address. Not yet, she said. We're gathering, not confronting. I clenched my jaw. Fine. She hung up, and I sat there staring at the clock. Every tick felt like a dare. By 5, Sophie texted, got more messages from her backup email. She's been talking to Mark since February. Months, I muttered aloud. My humiliation felt heavier, but under it was something sharper, resolve. I called Sophie back. Send it all. You sure? Yes. Minutes later, my inbox pinged. Photos, emails, booking confirmations. One message from Leah to Mark Reed. He thinks I'm working late. I'll wear the dress you like. I scrolled further. A thread titled Our Trip showed flights to Miami, booked for next month. Both tickets on my card. That was it. The line I didn't know I'd been walking snapped. David called. You've gone quiet. Bad sign. I've got everything now. Receipts, messages, dates. Even their vacation plans. Good, now you hand it to a lawyer. No, I cut in. This doesn't go to a lawyer yet. She's going to look me in the eye first. You're walking into trouble, maybe, but she underestimated me, and I'm done playing the fool. David exhaled. At least wait until Sophie's with you. Why? So she can talk me down. So you don't do something that blows up in your face. I didn't answer. My mind was already past that point. That night, I laid everything out on my coffee table. Screenshots, bank statements, the Miami itinerary. Each piece was another nail in the coffin of the life I thought I had. I didn't just want to leave anymore. I wanted her to regret every smug smile, every lie she told while looking me in the eye. And I knew exactly how to start. I stood at our front door with my key in the lock, breathing slow so I wouldn't slam it open. Leah's voice floated from the living room. You're home. Yeah. I set my bag down gently. Figured we should talk. She glanced at me cautiously. About us. I forced my shoulders to relax. I've been thinking. Maybe I rushed to judgment. Maybe I just need time. Her eyes softened. Time's good. We can work through this. I want to believe that. She stepped closer, almost testing the space between us. You mean it? I wouldn't be here if I didn't. The lie slid out smooth. She touched my arm. Then let's start fresh. No more distance. No more fights. Fresh, I echoed. Yeah. Later, I called Sophie from the garage, whispering. She bought it, I said. Told you she would, Sophie replied. She thinks she's in control. That's when people get sloppy. So what's next? You record everything. Put your phone on you at home, audio running. I'll handle the backups. And when I get proof, then you burn the bridge. Over dinner, Leah smiled like nothing had happened. You know what would be nice? A trip. Just us. I set down my fork. Where? Somewhere warm. Maybe Miami. The nerve made me almost laugh. Miami. She shrugged. Why not? You've been so stressed. We could relax, reconnect. I tilted my head. And you'd handle the bookings. If you want me to. I smiled. Sure. Surprise me. That night, Sophie texted. Don't react. Let her think she's winning. I typed back. Harder than it sounds. She replied. You're playing the fool. That's the point. 2 days later, Leah was on the phone in the kitchen. I was in the hallway, phone recording in my pocket. Her voice was low. No, he's calm now. I told you, we'll get through this. Pause. Of course I still want to see you. We just have to be smart. I stepped into the room, pretending not to hear. Coffee. She turned, smiling too quickly. Yeah, thanks. I poured it, set it in front of her, and walked away before my face betrayed me. Sophie came over that weekend, disguised as a casual visit. So, Leah asked, housework. Busy, Sophie said, sliding me a look I knew meant we'll talk later. After Leah went upstairs, Sophie whispered, that last call you recorded. It's gold. She's talking about timing things before your supposed trip. Meaning what? Meaning she's keeping you pacified while planning something else. I clenched my fists. She's using my money to take him with her. Sophie's tone stayed calm. We'll prove it. At night, I'd lie beside Leah, her breathing steady, and wonder if she even remembered the vows she made. You're quiet, she said one evening. Thinking, I replied. About us. Always. She reached for my hand. Then think good things. We can make this work. I looked at her face, familiar and foreign all at once. If you say so. By midweek, Sophie had compiled more receipts for jewelry, dinners, the Miami flights. And now, audio of her telling Mark you're not suspicious. I almost smiled. She's wrong. Exactly, Sophie said. And the longer she believes that, the deeper the hole she digs. Leah started acting sweeter. I'll cook tonight, she offered. All right. She set plates down like it was a date night. Feels good, doesn't it? Us. Like this again. It does, I lied. Inside, I was counting the recordings, the screenshots, the evidence stacking high enough to crush her story. Sophie called later. I can't figure out if she's brazen or just stupid. Both, I said. She looks me in the eye and talks about our future while she's booking a room for him. That's why you stop thinking of her as your wife, Sophie said firmly. She's your target now. I didn't argue. She was right. The next morning, Leah kissed my cheek. Have a good day. I smiled back. You too. But in my head, I wasn't thinking about work. I was thinking about the moment she'd realize I'd never been the fool. It happened faster than I expected. Leah's perfect little world began to splinter, and I didn't even have to push too hard. It started with a video. Not one I made, not one I planned, but one that fate, or maybe karma, seemed to drop into my lap. Mark's girlfriend, the one he swore he'd broken up with months before, had found out about Leah. And she didn't just find out quietly. No, she confronted Leah in the middle of a crowded cafe on a Saturday afternoon. The phone cameras came out before the first word was spoken. "You think you can steal my boyfriend and get away with it?" the girlfriend shouted, standing over Leah's table. Leah looked up, shocked, her latte halfway to her mouth. "Excuse me, don't play innocent," the girlfriend snapped. "I've seen the texts, the pictures. You're nothing but a cheap homewrecker." Gasps rippled through the cafe. People were whispering, recording, enjoying the free drama like it was a reality show. Leah's face went pale, then red, then pale again. She stammered something about not knowing, but the girlfriend wasn't interested in her excuses. She dumped the rest of her iced coffee across Leah's lap, turned, and stormed out, her high heels clacking like a victory march. The video was online before Leah even made it home. Within hours, it was all over local gossip pages. The comments were brutal. "Karma's a queen. Not so pretty now, are we? I used to think she was sweet, guess not." By Monday, even her closest friends were acting different. She'd walk into a room and conversations would suddenly stop. Invitations to brunch and wine nights stopped appearing in her messages. At work, I made my next move. A week earlier, I'd, accidentally, stumbled upon something, Mark skimming money from the company account. I didn't confront him. I didn't even warn him. Instead, I sent an anonymous email to his boss with screenshots and dates. On Tuesday morning, I heard it happen. Mark's voice, sharp and defensive, carried through the thin office walls. "That's not what happened. I can explain." "Save it," his boss cut in coldly. "Pack your things." An hour later, Mark was gone. Leah showed up at my place that evening, wearing that same trembling smile she used to hide behind in high school when she'd done something wrong. "Hey, can we talk?" she asked softly. I stepped aside, letting her in. She sat on my couch, twisting her hands in her lap. "Everything's falling apart," she whispered. "Mark lost his job. People at work are gossiping about me, and I don't even know why." I sat in the chair across from her. "That sounds difficult," I said, my tone flat. Her eyes searched my face, looking for the warmth I used to give her without thinking. "You've been distant lately," she said slowly. "Is something wrong?" I gave her a polite smile, the kind you give a stranger you don't want to talk to for too long. "I've just been busy." She frowned, clearly sensing the gap between us but too unsure to name it. I really need someone on my side right now." For years, that sentence would have been my cue to rush in, to reassure her, to carry her pain like it was my own. But not anymore. "I'm sure you'll figure it out," I said, my voice cool, almost detached. Her shoulders slumped. For a second, she looked like she might cry. But then she straightened, forcing a small laugh. "Yeah, I guess I always do." We both knew that wasn't true. When she left, I watched from the window as she walked down the street. Her head was low, her arms wrapped tight around herself. She was starting to realize something she'd never considered before. Her charm didn't work on everyone. Her beauty didn't protect her. And I wasn't going to save her this time. The cracks in her kingdom were spreading. And soon, the whole thing would collapse. I set the table with 3 plates, silverware aligned perfectly. My hands didn't tremble, not yet. Leah came in, curious. "Company?" "Yeah," I said. "Thought we could have dinner." "Clear the air." Her brow lifted. "With who?" "You'll see. At 6, the doorbell rang. Leah opened it. Mark stood there, looking uncertain. She glanced between us. "What's this?" I gestured to the table. "Dinner. Let's sit." Mark shifted. "I'm not sure." "Sit," I said, sharper than intended. They obeyed. Leah poured wine. "So, what's the occasion?" I slid a thick envelope onto the table. "This." She hesitated. "What's that?" "Open it." Her fingers shook as she pulled out photos, receipts, and printed messages. Mark's jaw tightened. "What the hell is this?" "Evidence," I said. "Hotel bookings, dinner bills, Miami flights, texts about how stupid I am. All paid for with my card." Leah's face drained of color. I know everything. Mark shoved his chair back. "You went through my life." I laughed once. "You went through mine first." Leah turned to him. "You said, 'Don't put this on me,'" Mark snapped. "You told me he wouldn't find out." I leaned forward. "You're both terrible liars." Mark pushed away from the table. "I'm not doing this." "You already did," I said. He glared at Leah, then at me. "Enjoy your mess." He stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the glasses. Leah's eyes filled fast. "I didn't." "Don't." She reached for my hand. I pulled back. "Please," she said, her voice breaking. "I didn't mean to fall in love with him." I stared at her. You didn't mean to. It just happened. I was lonely, you were so distant, and I shook my head. You could have talked to me. I thought you'd leave. I let out a short, bitter laugh. You made sure of it anyway. Dash dash dash. She wiped her cheeks. We can fix this. No, Leah. My voice stayed level, but my hands were tight on the edge of the table. I'm done. Her breathing hitched. You don't mean that. I do. Dash dash dash. She stood, pacing. We've been through so much. You've been through my money, my trust, my patience. That's all. She stopped. I made a mistake. No, a mistake is forgetting milk at the store. This was calculated. Her lip trembled. I love you. I felt nothing. No, you love what I gave. You. Dash dash dash. She sank into her chair. I can change. You already did. Into someone I don't recognize. She looked up at me, desperate. If you leave now, it's over. Exactly. Dash dash dash. I stood, picking up my jacket from the back of the chair. Her voice rose. So you're just walking away. After everything, you walked away first. I'm just catching up. Dash dash dash. I headed for the door. Wait, she pleaded. We can talk about this tomorrow. There's nothing left to talk about. I opened the door. Cool air hit my face. Dash dash dash. She stepped closer. If you go, you'll regret it. I met her eyes one last time. I regret staying this long. Then I walked out, down the steps, and into the night without looking back. The apartment smelled of fresh paint and dust. My boxes sat unopened in the corner. Sophie stepped inside, scanning the space. It's small, but it's yours. I forced a smile. Feels empty. It won't for long, she said. You'll fill it with your stuff, your rules. David carried in another box. And no one here will lie to you. Dash dash dash. We ordered takeout that night, sitting on the floor. David raised his chopsticks. To starting over. I tapped mine against his. Starting over. Sophie smiled. And to better company. For the first time in months, I laughed. Dash dash dash. Days blurred into routines, unpacking, working, sleeping without wondering where Leah was. Still, the silence was heavy. One evening, Sophie called. Want to come out? Not really. You can't just sit in that place forever, she said. I'm not ready for crowds. She hesitated. Then I'm bringing the crowd to you. Dash dash dash. Half an hour later, she arrived with coffee and cookies. You're relentless, I said, opening the door. You'd thank me if you weren't so stubborn. David came in behind her, carrying a plant. What's that? I asked. A peace lily, he said. For peace. Dash dash dash. We sat on the couch I'd finally assembled. David leaned back. You look lighter. Do I? Sophie nodded. The lines on your face aren't as deep. And you actually answer your phone now. I shrugged. I guess I'm breathing again. Dash dash dash. A week later, I was stirring pasta when Sophie called again. You sitting down? She asked. I'm cooking. Well, you might want to sit. Leah's gone. I froze. Gone. She lost her job. Something about conduct unbecoming. Mark's out of the picture too. I stirred slower. And her friends. From what I hear, they've ghosted her. Dash dash dash. 2 days later, my phone lit up with her name. I stared at the text. I made a mistake. Without opening it, I held down the delete button until it vanished. Dash dash dash. That weekend, David and Sophie dragged me to the river. The wind carried the same chill I'd felt the night I sat in my car there, unable to move. Sophie watched me. You okay? I inhaled deeply. Yeah, better than okay. David grinned. Then let's mark it. No more looking back. Dash dash dash. I stepped closer to the water. The ripples caught the fading light, and for the first time in a long while, I felt no weight pressing on my chest. I closed my eyes, breathed in the cold air, and let it out slowly. Free. I almost didn't answer the knock. When I opened the door, Leah stood there. Her hair was unkempt, makeup smudged, and her eyes hollow. Can we talk? She asked, voice small. I stepped aside without a word. Dash dash dash. Inside, she glanced around the apartment. It's different. It's mine, I said. She gave a weak smile. I know. I thought maybe we could have one last conversation. I sat across from her. All right, say what you need to. Dash dash dash. She stared at her hands. I messed up. I lost everything. My job, my friends, Mark, all gone. I waited. Her voice cracked. I keep thinking about us. About how I threw it away. You didn't just throw it away, I said. You burned it. Her lip trembled. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I leaned forward. You didn't mean to hurt me. Or you didn't mean to get caught. Her eyes flicked up. I loved you. I still do. I shook my head. You loved what I gave you. There's a difference. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she said, I'm sorry. I know. That's it. That's all I've got. She swallowed hard. Do you ever miss me? No, I said. I miss who I thought you were. Her breath hitched. I don't even know who I am anymore. That's not my problem to solve. She stood slowly. I guess this is goodbye. It's been goodbye for a long time, I said. At the door, she hesitated. I hope you find someone who treats you right. I already have, I said. Me. When the door closed behind her, I stood there for a moment, listening to the silence. No anger. No sadness. Just peace.